I'm Mac, CEO of National Streaming Sports and host of the Mac and Jack Sports Show. You're watching the sharp-dressed man and the big story breaker, Robert Butler, on SportsScope, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern on National Streaming Sports.
All righty then. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope, folks, on this May the 8th day, Thursday. And I got the Mad New Yorker backstage. Let's give him a Hey, Carlos.
Hey, what's up?
I can tell you're on cloud nine today. You came in a little early, you're jumpy. You're pretty hyped up, man. What's happened these last two games with this Knicks Celtics series? In your opinion?
So before we start,
what did the Knicks do right? We know what the Celtics did wrong. What did the Knicks do right in your opinion?
Well, before we start on that, I just want to just give my first condolences to Mac, his family.
Okay.
All everybody that knows him, friends and followers. He was a dear friend of mine. He gave me an opportunity to help out National Sports, streaming live and all that. So I just want to, give a shout out to everybody. A lot of prayers go out to him and his family, and just some terrible news.
Yeah,
he was sick for a while. He did tell me that, and it's just with everything that's going on. I appreciate him for everything that he's done for not just me, but for all the guys out here that were able to share their voice, have a podcast, and get together and share their opinions. And for everybody else who got the opportunity to hear him and all the things that he's got to say, he will be missed, and he will not be forgotten. And I just want to say all that, and just keep it rocking, because I'm sure he'd want us to just keep moving forward and keep spreading the word. So
yeah. I was going to ask you about Mac later, but since I had the intro with Mac, that's a good start there. Yeah. Now, did you ever go on Mac? Did you ever do any shows with him or Jack Hirsch, or him and Jack Hirsch?
Yeah, I was on a couple of shows with them, and
okay.
I always chimed in on their shows. They gave me an opportunity, and then I started doing the shows with Keith. So
yeah.
But they, we all kind of know each other, and we all, it's all good stuff, because they all they all call me crazy, but I'm just not a fanboy like a lot of a lot of people would expect me to be. Being in New York, I'm a true fan, but I'm not. I have hope, and with that, we can move on to talking about the Knicks and what I feel and what my
okay. Yeah. I was just wondering. I didn't know if you had a chance to do a program. I knew you knew Mac, and that's well said, man. And I did a tribute show, a segment yesterday to Mac, and I ended it with all these billionaires going to space and stuff, and Jeff Bezos sending the celebrities to space, and same with Elon Musk. I think these guys need to come together and get with the medical community to research and do something about cancer, man, and not to make it a show about that, but it's too many people. It's taking them down in their prime. You remember Stuart Scott, Dickie V's battling cancer right now. Who is that guy that was a coach that they have that foundation on ESPN for him that used to coach college basketball?
The V Foundation.
Yeah, I think the V. I think
coach
he died of cancer as well, right?
Yeah, NC State coach.
Yeah. So I'd like to see him put that space stuff to the side and put an emphasis. It's the second leading death in the world that's killing people, second only to cardiovascular disease. So it's, man, it is what it is, brother.
Yeah, and it's a tough time, but I just wanted to make sure that his name has been out there, and for those who don't know who he is and what he's done, he was able to do things. You know, during COVID, they gave everybody a voice and a space to share their voice, and that means a lot to some people. It meant a lot to me, and I just appreciate him for that. So
yeah, good guy, hardworking guy. Turned me on the StreamYard, by the way. So I met him, and then of course, like I said yesterday, I met Keith, and Keith helped me find out how to get these green screens set up and everything.
Careful, don't knock down the Batman building.
Yeah. Well, this is New York City skyline.
Did you change it up?
I changed it up. Yeah, this is the.
Oh yeah, is that the Empire State Building?
Yeah.
Why is it in green?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. The Jets might have had to win the night that they took that picture. So let's go back to basketball. What did the Knicks do right, man?
I'm gonna go on a different route, and I want just to hear me out for a minute because we've
go ahead.
Back in the day, maybe a little bit, but you remember when Villanova was playing and they had Brunson and they had Bridges and I was like, I don't know if I like this team because they weren't special. There was nothing special about them. They didn't have the super uber talent.
Fallon, Genzo, whatever.
Yeah, they didn't. But you know, and I told my son this. I was like, I didn't like that team, Izzy, but like when I watched them, I appreciated it because they gutted it out. They figured it out. They did it together, and that's what we, as sports fans, as team, like when we support the teams, that's what we want to see: hard work, dedication, motivation, team. The whole team,
team chemistry.
Yeah, chemistry, right? So. And I'm watching this team now, and I'm like, these guys are doing it again. Now, we have to understand, Brunson wasn't drafted he was drafted like number 33 or something.
Yeah, not the second round, I think.
In the second round, right? So he wasn't even appreciated. And this is a man that they went twice to Final Four, right? So again, I'm just going back to move forward. These were the team guys. And now they're back together. And I felt like when I heard about this, I was like, why are they bringing these guys together? Like, because it's not like there's not a Kobe Bryant on the Knicks. There's not like a Anthony Edwards on the Knicks. But the guys that are there, and this is, I'm not trying to compare them now, but I'm saying this is similar to a situation when Detroit had Tayshaun Prince, when they had
Richard Hamilton.
They had Chauncey Billups, and these guys weren't uber superstars, right? But they had games where one or two of them would step it up, and they grinded it out together. They figured it out. They played hard. They was on the same page, and we would always despise that team, right? We were like.
Yeah. Well, I loved them because they beat the Lakers, and I always hated the
Lakers. When I sat there and we talked about it, right? And we talked like this team is.
We talked about them in school, yeah.
Right. They're not special, but they are special, and the reality is that's the team that if you watch basketball, you root for because those guys are doing it together. And I don't want to go and say that these are terrible basketball players, because they're not, but they're. All of those guys, if you put them on the aspect of best players for ability and for how much what they're doing and how much they affect the game, they up there, but they're not the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
They're not the at that moment. They're not the best of that moment. However, they're doing the best that they can, and they're doing it with the other teammates, and they're doing it for the city. But that's what we got right now. We got Brunson, Bridges.
You see that text I sent you. People are going crazy. The fans are going crazy in Boston. Listen, that was very Philadelphia Eagle, Philly sports guy type of moment.
I'm here now. I like all my fans, my all the fans here, the people that. But we gotta chill out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like we need to celebrate when we win it all. That's when we need it.
Right.
But this is New York, man. It's been a long time since the Knicks been. Like in the high cachet, it's been a long time since going to the Garden has been a high dollar ticket. It's been a long time, and actually a high dollar ticket in there actually winning. And it's been a long time from all. And even when we had it in my generation, we didn't win a championship. We had a championship run, but the Knicks didn't win a championship. So it's a good time for basketball fans in New York. It's a good time for the city, but we got a grimy team, man. We got a group of guys who just doing it all. And and those three guys are motivating the rest of the team and giving them hope and motivating them, and it's working out. And it's almost as if those guys are doing their due diligence a little bit better than their coach is doing what they're supposed to be doing, right? And helping them do what they're supposed to be. But either way, it doesn't matter. Like, they're winning, and it's just a good, high-spirited atmosphere here in New York for basketball fans and New York Knicks fans. So
that's interesting. Yeah.
Like, that's how I'm viewing it. And again, like, I'm not a Villanova fan, and even when they were in the Final Four, I wasn't rooting for them. But then seeing these guys play, and I'm like, and just took me back to like, wow, this is the kind of stuff they did for Villanova to be when they were in the championship.
Hart had a big game last night, and remember, he was with Villanova too.
Yeah, all three of those, Bridges, Hart, and Brunson.
Well, they had 4 guys at one time. DiVincenzo's now with Minnesota.
Right, that was the move they made.
He said he didn't like that reunion.
Yeah,
for whatever reason, I don't know.
And you know what? There's a certain time and a place to do things, and there's always going to be a group of people when they try to put together teams that formerly played together or have crossed paths at one time and just be on the same team. It just has to be. It has to work for everybody, and I'm not sure what that situation was. Besides it being business and about money, that it wasn't able to come to fruition with having DiVincenzo on the team. But I feel like if you would have him on the team right now, it would have balanced it out a little bit more, gave him a little bit more depth. But it didn't work out. So
yeah, I've watched the game in its full today. Watched it. I recorded last night.
Mm-hmm.
I knew what happened obviously last night, but I just want to make this observation you're not hearing anywhere else. Mitchell Robertson and Karl Anthony Towns outplayed Porzingis and Al Horford.
Yeah,
I know Al Horford's 100 years old in basketball years, and Porzingis has got this illness or something, this mystery illness that Reggie Miller keeps talking about.
I mean, listen, like Porzingis has always had an injury bug. I didn't like it when it was in New York. I was kind of like okay with them like letting him go. And now he's been in Boston for this will be his 3rd season and
second year, I think.
Yeah, and he's not, he should be a critical part of the team, and he's just here and there type of guy. I don't think he even played more than 60 games this year. Maybe like
some kind of viral infection going back.
Yeah, so he's right. So he's been in now of the lineup.
Weird.
So I believe they stated on if I'm not mistaken, he's about 30 games this season. He's played in like full in the lineup for more than so many minutes. That's not a lot of time, and he could be an integral part, and you could tell that they need somebody there in the spot to be big and perform big, and Horford just. Unfortunately, Horford could probably still do it for 10 minutes, but the game isn't 10 minutes long. So and look,
and the fact that they've led 81 out of 81 minutes,
right,
compared to the Knicks have left 81.04. The Knicks have led 12.15.
Yeah,
2 20-point leads. It's just. That coach is so between him and yes, there's a lot of that's on Tatum as well. Reggie Miller, he's pointing out, hey, there's a lane there, and they take another 3, they miss it. There's another lane there. He's pointing this out in real time, in live time. It's not, a lot of times you can see guys like Kenny Smith, they'll go to the little blackboard thing and the little screen thing and say, okay, here's what this. But Miller's he's doing the color of the game, and it's like they got a problem with the 3 ball. They're addicted to it like a drug, like a gambling addict. That they have to take that 3. Man, I would lose my mind as a head coach. They 8 minutes without a field goal in the 4th quarter.
8 minutes, and they took about 17 shots without it in those 8 minutes, without none of them falling.
Yeah, and a lot of those were 3s. That's just
right,
man.
So it's like Robert, we talk about it. Like we've talked about on the show, something that that we don't like about the new NBA, and we're like, yo, just drive it to the goal, like
Yeah.
and it's I listen, man.
At least go out like that, brother. I would never like to go out shooting a lazy three, but that it just feels lazy to me, man.
But to your point, like seconds before the game was supposed to end, Tatum just took the ball right down the middle.
They had a timeout too.
Dunks the ball.
Oh yeah, I like that. I'm like, where was that? Like 45 minutes ago.
Yeah,
real time.
And I'm just thinking, and I talked to a guy, a neighborhood guy over here, just like I used to talk to you guys. I talked to him. He's a Celtics fan. I'm like, if Tatum would just play the game like Anthony Edwards plays the game, just go to the basket every single chance he gets, the Knicks will have no opportunity of coming back ever.
Right.
And
yeah, they're still the better team. They have a chance, although 85% of the time, teams that win those first two games, road games, win the series. But I still think Celtics can come back and win this thing, probably in 7.
Think about that, Robert. Not just Tatum. Brown doesn't do the same thing. Brown's been missing from this game, from the series.
Yeah.
Like,
but he drives more than Tatum, though.
Yeah, and
at least he tries to get to the paint.
Yeah, and you would think that he would like just make 2 or 3 turns and just dunk on Towns or Mitchell Robinson because he's faster than both of them. He's got more, and he's got a better jumping ability than both of them. So, I mean, I don't know, and I'm not gonna make excuses for the Celtics because they've had leads even with
big leads,
even with the whole 3-point like plan that they've been doing, and I guess if you don't take threes, you don't make threes. But then if you live by the 3, you die by the 3.
Right.
It's just terrible basketball when you just see these guys who in the regular season had like a lot of high average point, and then they can't make a 3-point shot because it just doesn't fall for them. I mean, a lot of them have been on target. There haven't been that many air balls. There haven't been guys, but then some of them aren't even getting. They're not even getting fouled. Like the Knicks are like just allowing them to shoot because they haven't been too many fouls either. Like their free throw attempts are not high at all from getting fouled on the 3-point line. Where if you do the opposite of some teams, they've been like on another series in Denver, they've been on the line and they haven't made those shots. Right? They've been making 40%.
So you're gonna fork off $700 to go to the game per ticket? Is that I sent you that text?
Yeah, my man. I'll tell you what.
It'll be rocking in there.
If this was a final, yeah, but it's not a final.
The current get-in price is $704.
Yeah. I'm not dropping any kind of bones in that magnitude unless it's
$1,500. We just watch it at home on TV.
When it's a championship, championship game, the best of 5.
If this was the finals, you'd be money, huh?
Yeah, I would probably will attempt it. I'm not sure if my accountant here would allow it.
Miss Chavez would be like, "Are you kidding me?
Yeah,
are you crazy, Tony? Are you crazy?"
She'd be like, "You better be selling off your, the rest of the house." But no, I mean, the prices here.
What do you think is going to happen? Do you think the Knicks will win this series? Or do you think the Celtics will come back? How do you see this thing playing out?
I knew you was going to ask me that, and I'm just like I'm a realist, so I feel like, and look, Robert, like you have to be real. The Knicks have been coming back in every single series.
Yeah.
Right, and it's like, remember who was playing like the Jets were playing like that. Remember where they were coming back and then they were winning the games and everybody, and then it was the last game and they had to win from a field goal and the field goal didn't go. And I feel like this is like the whole New York thing. It's like everybody's excited, but at the end of the day, they didn't make that one play they should have. And I feel like it might come down to that, because again, the Knicks were never favored to win this series at all. I even went out.
You're still saying Boston's going to win it?
I feel like this is going to be a great series. It's going to go back and forth, but you still have to give Boston the upper hand because they're a championship team. Like, and if they
Boston in 7,
they'll go 7 games and it'll be the last 3 points and it's going to go down to that. But yeah, I've said it before that the Knicks weren't going to make it past the second round, right? Remember I said that?
Okay. Does this, performance does this save Tom Thibodeau's job?
No, not at all. I think.
What if they win this series? Does
No.
this save his job?
No, because they still have to win a championship. Like you
Okay.
can't go this far.
Well, if they win this series, they're playing Indiana or Cleveland. Probably going to play Indiana.
Right.
You know, and if, knock on wood, if they don't fall apart like they have in the past, they seem pretty healthy.
Right.
I would favor them over Indiana, although Indiana's playing great.
Right. I just think that there would. This is the same. There hasn't been from Thibodeau's side. There hasn't been any adjustments made to not be falling behind plus 10 points and trying to catch back up.
Okay.
Regardless of the roster that you put up there. And the second thing is, if they do get all the way to a finals, who would they play? OKC or Denver, maybe.
Or Minnesota. Those teams may be worn out too because they got to go through.
And a lot of injuries. Like there's a lot of injuries going on. So I don't like to catch. I being a Knicks fan and a New York fan, I don't like to be pushing the predictions like that because, that's just the way I'm about when it comes down to playoffs. But
if they get to the finals, he's safe. Your guess, right?
Yeah, because he was able to
make the next step. Yeah,
exactly. But he's been.
That's a big if. It's still a big if.
He's played Mikal Bridges like the last two games over 45 minutes.
Okay.
And I'm like, bro, you're still doing the same. Now, again, Mikal Bridges has been playing out of his mind and been being superb player for the Knicks. You can't. That's just a lot of usage on the
43 minutes. Yeah.
So
him and Josh Hart.
Yeah. So, and you got more time. If you're hoping to get past this team, you still got to get past the next two teams.
Well, they're going 8. They went 8 deep last night. So that's good. That's good. That's better than 5 or 6.
I know.
It's not JJ Redick.
And listen, another thing too is that this Knicks
and Boston went 8 deep too, by the way.
Right. This Knicks team is a little bit more mature and older than the teams that they'll be facing in the finals if they get to the finals, right? Because Denver might be a team that they might be close to in age, but between the Timberwolves and OKC, they're 2 or 3 years average older.
Yeah.
Right. So,
that's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. They're a little bit, not much older though. They're primed to make that run this year. That's why I thought that.
But look, if you compare Towns to the power forwards and the centers that are in the West, Towns is the oldest.
Yeah, I think he's like 29 or something.
Right. So
that's close, though. I think him and Aaron Gordon are pretty close to the same age.
No, Aaron Gordon is probably, to him, his counterpart, they're about the same age. But then everybody else is like 5 years younger.
Except for Joker's like 31, ain't he?
You have Joker, you have...
Well, he's like 30. Yeah.
So
hold on, there he is. See how old Joker is. 30. Yeah.
Here's my little Joker jumping on the screen.
Joker he's 30.
Daddy. I take
Karl Anthony Towns is 29. He's actually younger. You're right. Well, he's actually a year younger. It's pretty close with Denver.
It's more of a team thing, and then we have to look at what injuries.
Oh, yeah. It's average everybody together. Well, Westbrook's older.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
But if you care, I feel like the Timberwolves and OKC are more likely to be in the finals than in Denver, and because of the injuries.
Well, they're a lot older than OKC, yeah.
But I like that Denver team is trying to do things, but man, this past game they just got wailed on.
Do you think Denver's going to win this series since they took home court advantage, winning the crucial game 1? With their experience, what's your thoughts on that?
I'm going to say I want to say this, and I'm not trying to cop out. Robert, this is the first time that all 8 teams, right, playing are actually almost playing on the same level. And you have the first time that the teams who are coming in with the lower record have won the first game of the series, or more. This is the first time in NBA history, right?
Oh, the road teams winning like that, crazy,
right?
Yeah.
So, all these games that we're gonna see, or if you care to see them, they're all gonna be close from now on. Like, and then and again, some of these injuries are gonna
so coming in, I think you would have picked. We didn't have a show, but you would have picked OKC over Denver. I did pick OKC over it to win the series.
Right, yeah, to win the series, yeah.
So you would have picked them coming in?
Yeah.
Okay. Me too.
And in Golden State, I had the younger Timberwolves because I saw Golden State was the older team, and I was like, Anthony Edwards been playing out of his mind this season, and then now we see.
What do you think happened there? Is that just a lack of focus on Minnesota's part? Maybe because they had 5 days off. I mean, didn't Steph Curry gets hurt with that injury?
Yeah. So the thing is, that's the one thing. Like, as much as basketball's played on the court, right? So as much as we like to try to do things on paper and do these predictions and try to make some of these bets, and parlays and all this fun stuff that we talk about, even though I don't, but I'll try to make a prediction here and there. These guys are going out there and just crazy things are happening during the game, between referees making crazy calls, some of these blotch falls, some of these some of this coaching, like in Boston with the coach not changing his strategy, like
right.
It's almost as if you have to watch the game to see what's going to happen, because you're not going to predict it. Like,
the talent's very even right now.
Right, and while I was watching,
the most parity maybe of our lifetime.
For sure. And I was watching the Celtics and Knicks game, and I was, the FanDuel stuff comes up, the DraftKings information comes up, and it's like, oh, this is a -8 game, this is a +5 or whatever, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, these guys are down by 20. And then all of a sudden they're creeping back into the game. They slightly, and Boston keeps doing the same thing. They keep missing goals. They keep missing shots. The goal percentage goes down, and all of a sudden, and then you see it towards the end of the game where they're like the 3-point. Because I told you, right, they're going to be about 5-point difference. I don't think they're going to strain from that. You see the differential and people who are betting, and also it's like the numbers are just so skewed, and I'm like, wow, this is why I don't bet. But I feel like
I would have lost quite a bit. Yeah, let's we bounce around too much here.
To go back to what you're saying, I think for all these games going on, they're just all going to be really close, and it's going to be I don't know if you want to call it fun, but it's going to be crazy, and you got to keep your eye out to see what the end game is going to be at the end. So,
this that Denver team, they just seem like the more experienced team. They seem a little sluggish last year, finishing games, and Westbrook is actually playing the part the way I said he should have played the part. The way I thought he would play the part, going back to last week when the Clippers lost, when they beat the Clippers, and then of course in Game 1, I'm noticing that Joker, just being around Westbrook, is being more vocal on the sidelines, and they're really taking it to him now. There is a chance. There's a very good, even though I picked OKC. It's a very good chance they can win this series now. They win that crucial Game 1. Right. You can tell the lack of experience in OKC there down the stretch is really starting to show up. They kind of remind me of the Celtics back when they struggled against Cleveland and LeBron when he was playing there. When Tatum and Brown were like 21, 22 years old.
Yeah. Well,
because Chet Holmgren's still a very young guy.
Right. Did you catch the game last night where they were above 30
Well, yeah, they just shot the lights out last night. Like
Yeah, it was
145.
like I wasn't.
But they had to win that game. That was a must-win. But Boston had to win, but they didn't win.
Right. I just watching that game though, you could see that the possibility of Denver spinning out of control, it can happen because
they could just fall apart because
I mean before. The older guys couldn't keep it there was no balance, right? And so Joker was missing shots, missing passes. Murray was missing shots, didn't make any passes. And so you just start the points just kind of start racking up and then you counter everybody in OKC with everything they did was working. So if now they have a blueprint of how they can beat Denver, can they manage to do those things in Colorado? Because that's going to be a different.
Yeah, they're going to have to win one game in Colorado, and then they'll get home court advantage back. But we'll see. That's going to be a tough series.
Yes.
The pre-series, I was with Jeffrey Deskin. By the way, Jeffrey picked the Knicks. He picked Denver. He picked Golden State. He's on a roll right now. Other than I was up, he even picked the Cavs. Now, he's wrong about that. I think the Cavs are probably done. They've got too many injuries. They're piling up. Evan Mobley's banged up. But we already know about Garland.
This guy's picking all the old teams.
He's picking all the –
He can't –
he picked pretty much every road team out there except for Cleveland. But he's on a roll right now. He's feeling pretty good. But no, I think Denver may win that series. They very well may, because they've got the better players that are in their prime. I got a feeling that OKC probably don't have that second guy they can go to in the clutch time. I don't know if Homer can get it done. We know what SGA can do,
right?
But you got to have another guy be able to pick up the slack, you know.
And I think the way they were playing and the way they're holding their cards, I feel like they don't want a third guy. They want those 5 guys.
Oh, role player to do their thing.
Yeah, and they want those 5 guys on the court. So it's a stamina thing. It's like you guys are our best of what we have, and you guys need to be on the court as much as possible. So
you're saying they still get it done with their depth? OKC.
I think they get it done with their youth and their motivation and their teamwork. I think they'll get it done over Denver, because Denver is older. When they brought in Westbrook, they kept this guy that you mentioned earlier,
Gordon.
They kept him. Porter Jr. has a sore arm. You could tell he's not in any way to be ultra competitive. Now, if he's not on the court, you see the defense kind of like Denver kind of fall to wayside, because Porter Jr. he's a presence, right?
He's a tall guy. He's like 6'10".
So it's and then Jokic, he has to carry them, and
they could fall apart. That's true.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's enough there. I feel like if their younger guys, Braun and Murray, if they don't have 20+ games, Denver
20+ points. Yeah.
They struggle.
Especially Murray.
Yeah, especially Murray. And Murray,
he's key, really.
He has not been able to be consistent these last 3 games that I've watched him play. He's just been you could see him pressing. He's like, I got, I'm gonna make this shot, I'm gonna make this 3-pointer, I'm gonna get this rebound. Like everything he does, he's pressing to try to, where if you compare him to Anthony Edwards, everything that Anthony Edwards does flows.
Yeah.
So
I believe that they were that cold. Let's do that Minnesota game. That they were that cold against a team that played 2 days beforehand, a game 7 in Golden State, that Minnesota was that cold shooting, and lost the way that they did in that fashion by 11 points. They were down by 20 at one point before Steph Curry went out.
Yeah, I think what the thing with Minnesota is that the older guys like Randall, the older guys on the team were almost a setback instead of giving the reins to Anthony Edwards, they were just like, let's try to do a team thing. It's like, no, you should have ran everything through Edwards, and then so instead of trying to like divvy it out and balance it out, where you run everything through Edwards and then he'll give you the ball on the inside. And again, guys like Randall, DiVincenzo's throwing up shots, they weren't going in. Randall was mostly on the outside instead of being on the inside, which was detrimental to the Knicks when he was on the team. He was trying to keep 3 points. Like you're 60. You're
kind of somebody mentioned the other day. He said he turned back into a pumpkin.
Right.
Remember, he played so well against the Lakers.
Right. You know? So like he's had some of his best games, and his best games can't be behind him though. He's got to keep doing good and allowing him. If he's not a presence, Edwards can't go in there and play his inside game. Edwards has to stay outside. And now you have three of your leading scorers on the outside. All you have to do is keep him out there, and you're going to win the game. DiVincenzo's going to throw up threes. Randall, you let him out there, he's going to shoot up a three, and Edwards is forcing to throw threes because he can't get on the inside.
Yeah. I tell you what, I would really, really be disappointed in Minnesota if they lose this series, considering the fact grade 1 hamstring strain for Curry was going to be out a week.
Right.
But that's just to be reevaluated. I don't think he's going to come back. If he does, it'll be like in game 6 or 7. If Minnesota, I mean, you talk about losing respect for a team. I mean, they're a bigger team anyways. Draymond Green's 35 years old. So is Jimmy Butler. And I didn't know Steph Curry was 37.
Yeah, and I'm going to go
That's
out.
That's why I picked Minnesota, of course. I mean, they're going to run out of gas.
Look, the Golden State though, they have a lot of guys that are young that just need to be on the court more though. Like
Brzezinski guy,
Kuminga, and I feel like those guys, those 3 young guys that they have been putting out there, they can outplay Minnesota's guys and the thing with those
Buddy Hield.
Yeah, those guys can outplay Minnesota's guys, and they can keep defensively. They can keep them in the 3 outside of 12 footers. And if they do, and Minnesota takes that and eats it all up, Golden State will win this because they're not playing to the.
Are you picking Golden State to win this series?
I feel like it's going to be very close, and it could be possible that if Buddy Hield can put 20 plus, if Kuminga can get there between 18 to 20 points, and Polinsky or whatever his name is, if he can keep it running around, they're going to be a havoc to deal with because Randall's not great defensively, and he does not stay inside. DiVincenzo is very inconsistent. And Edwards, if he's not attacking the basket, he's not getting to the free throw line. How are you pressing and making Golden State feel old and tired?
Well, I think they'll have a different game plan. I think they'll speed it up a little bit. I think they'll play great tonight. If they don't, people are going to start looking at Finch, the head coach there, and say, is this as far as you can take this team, man? We saw how inconsistent they looked against Dallas last year after beating Denver in 7 games. I mean, what do they lose to Dallas in 5 games? I understand that Denver took a lot out of it because that was a 7-game series.
Right.
But, at freaking Edwards, man, he's up, he's down, he's up, he's down.
And I want to say one thing. Buddy Hield, I don't know if people watch college basketball. He just
played with Oklahoma. He was great.
He was one of the best shooters in college basketball that came out of into the NBA and just kind of got lost in Sacramento. Then he bounced to New Orleans. He bounced around. Yeah, when I saw him and he just had that game of this, I feel like the game of the century for him. I felt good about him
against Houston.
Yeah, I feel good for him, and I was like, oh man, this guy, okay, he's coming.
So we're even in our picks, by the way. You had Denver, I had the Clippers. Of course, Denver won, but I also had Golden State. You had Houston.
I had Houston, yeah.
You probably should have won that. I don't know. Houston, that's a whole different topic right there.
But
They need to get another scorer on that team.
I'm just hoping that Buddy Hield, because he has the thing is that he has an upside and the capability of doing it. I'm just hoping that he can get it together and just if he can get that consistent 22 points to 25 points a game, man, it would change everything for the teams that have to play him and for the team that he's playing on right now. I'm not trying to say that, you know, I'm a number one fan of him, but he has that capability and a possibility of that happening. But I'm not sure if he can do that. I'm not sure if they're gonna. I'm not sure.
But don't you think that Jimmy Butler's probably gonna get an ailing injury, and Draymond being his age? I mean, these guys got to take advantage of that fatigue, and Gobert's got to step it up, man, and play the way he did in that last game against the Lakers.
Those names, Gobert, DiVincenzo, Randall, like what do you like? You guys were in the last series, you guys were putting it on, and now all of a sudden you're not there, you're not around. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
It's like they underestimated Golden State because people like us been saying, hey, listen, this team's old. They had a road game.
Right. This is the last hurrah.
7 game, 3 main players, 35 and up.
Yeah.
You guys ran rough shot on LA. You had the extra rest, and they went out there and just could not hit anything. Bro, they almost did a little Boston. It's taking too many threes, man.
Yeah.
So they should bounce back. They should. It will be a hell of a job of coaching by Steve Kerr if they pull this off.
And if you guys aren't watching, haven't caught the playoffs, and you're waiting for just the finals to occur, you're missing a lot of drama, man. It's a lot because
these are good games.
These are good games. The refs are letting them.
I'm going back and watching these games, thinking, man.
Yeah.
Even though I know the results after I drive Uber at night, I watched all that Boston game, and I even fast forward I didn't fast forward past the halftime. I want to see what the TNT guys had to say about that.
Yeah, I watched the whole game yesterday for the Denver game, and I was thinking maybe they can come back, but
yeah, OKC was really hot, man,
and it was just unraveling, and you could just I don't know, it was bad.
That's all they wanted to do is get that. That's the idea. Get one game on the road. You got 2 at home. Try to win your home games. Get 1 game on the road. That's what Phil Jackson used to say. Then you win the series.
It was kind of weird seeing Jokic not be relevant.
Yeah,
it really was. I was just watching and I was like taken aback. I was like, wow, this guy.
He's pacing himself. He's a big guy. I'm sure he's wore out.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But
yeah, and maybe they'll be out of gas too. I mean, a lot of times the team just sitting there for long periods of time, 5 days off, sometimes 10 days off. If you sweep your opponent and the other team goes 7 games, there is a rust factor. I've seen it in the finals. Remember in 2001 when the Lakers swept their way, and then the 76ers went 7 games, and they won game 1 and shocked the Lakers. Of course, they went back and the Lakers won 4 straight. But couldn't do nothing with Shaq that year.
No, we talked about this before a couple of weeks ago. What do you think about the refereeing? What's going on? I mean, I'm
okay with it, as long as they don't let it get too far out of hand where there's no fights or nothing. I mean,
I just some of these teams to try.
I like the fact that they're letting them play physical.
Yeah, I don't not like. I just don't like some of the calls and when they're happening. It's like you just missed 3 calls and now you're making 1 call.
Well, I don't like the whole makeup call thing.
Yeah. There you go. That's what I'm getting at, right?
It's like, we missed 2 calls to go. Let's make it up with 1 minute to go. No, just call it all the way through, man.
Well, that's what.
Although that did help. That did help the Knicks beat the Pistons in 1 game.
Oh yeah,
they were saying the Pistons got robbed. I'm like, wait a minute. The guy swallowed his whistle. Well, they were mauling Brunson, they were mauling Towns, and now you want the call on the other side, and I can't have it both ways,
right? No, and I'm not saying that to I'm just saying like if you're playing the game and you're waiting for that whistle, man, that's the
Yeah.
worst mindset to be at. You know what I'm saying? The worst. Just you got to play through, man.
Do you have any thoughts about let's see, Greg Popovich? We'll do this, then we'll get to the Cowboys story.
Okay.
Retired. I thought he was even before his stroke, I thought he's still getting a little cranky, going off. He's got the Spurs logo in the background. He's lecturing people on politics and stuff. And it's just he's cranky old get off my lawn guy. And no Tim Duncan, and the team's not really playing that great. I know the league respects him. I think it was the right time to go ahead and step down. Plus, he had that stroke last year.
Yeah, and look, we didn't see him a lot. He wasn't in camera a lot, and
he did. Yeah, I don't think he coached any this calendar year.
And I'm mad respect for Popovich and all he's accomplished and what he's done for all his players, for the culture in San Antonio, for them being ultra competitive all those years. He was ready to move on. I think 3 seasons ago when that Becky thing happened of him bringing her in as a coach.
Oh yeah.
I felt like in that time frame that administration was ready to move on, and they didn't make the right calls and the right moves. And I was like, Popovich don't want to be there. Like you could tell
they've been riding on fumes with him.
Yeah, and he was getting frustrated.
That's a good call. That's a good observation.
After the whole Kawhi Leonard situation, because he wanted Kawhi to stay, and they're like, we're not paying him. And they're like, why do you like this player so much?
Pushing him play through that knee injury.
Right. And
he wasn't ready.
Right. And so all that stuff, I felt like, he's done. Like he's not going to lose respect from people. But I feel like the way that things are going, like to see Kawhi Leonard not play and he's okay with that because he knows he needs them for the playoffs. I'm like, wow, I don't think he would ever coached a team before that same way. So I felt like, and then him bringing in Becky and then bringing back Duncan and all. I was like maybe he's getting himself ready to go, and I feel like maybe that they should have let him go then. And but the situation that happened to him, man,
a season or two too long. That's a good point.
Yeah. The situation that happened to him with the heart attack and the stroke. I mean, it took a lot off. It took from him. To see him frail like that was hard to see, but I'm glad that he's moving on. It's not a good situation to be in, recovering. I think he knows that. It's awesome that administration, that team, they support him. They've been bringing him on through therapies and all that. That's great to see. I'm not sure if any other teams in the NBA right now would be able to do something like that for one of their
Where would you put him all time, man? Where would you put him all time?
Pop as a coach, I think he'd be in the top 10.
Okay. I'm thinking maybe 5 to 10, maybe 7.
Yeah, maybe 7, 8 or 7. And here and there's not no knock on him. This is a lot of good coaches, but we don't understand how much he's actually done for Team USA basketball. He's been behind those doors, and he's done a lot to get some coaches in, to get a lot of players in, to develop players. So we need to appreciate him for that, because it wasn't for Popovich, Team USA, after the old Rockets coach moved on, it was tough for the USA basketball to try to find somebody, and between him, and between him and Coach K getting together and him getting with players on the same page, that was some tough few years, about almost 6 to 8 years there for Team USA basketball. So he was able to keep all that together. They done what they did, and man, he is a coach, man. He's a player's coach, and he knows his X's and O's, and and he's got championships to prove it too, with teams and different strategies that you're not going to see, I don't think, in the next anymore. Just the way basketball's changed, it's become more of a frilly nilly 3-point game right now. So, top 10, around 7 for sure.
Yeah, I'm same there, around 5 maybe.
Yeah, between 5 and 10, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty good. NFL story here. George Pickens Man, you know, how many players, how many knuckleheads does the Steelers draft? I mean, you know, maybe they come out good on these draft picks. Remember Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson. Now they've moved off George
They have Brown.
Pickens.
Forget Brown.
Well, Brown was good, and he went off the rails later in his career. But, you know, it's just, do you think they would change their drafting strategy, man?
Well,
What's your thoughts about that?
I mentioned this in a couple of different places, and this is my perception of what's going on. In my opinion, I feel like no matter what the Steelers do and who they get, there will always be a smidge better than the Dallas Cowboys are and were for the last 20 years. There will always be a smidge better. Now, both teams haven't won championships in a while. Both.
Yeah.
Both historic teams haven't won anything in a while. Now, saying that, I think it's easier for Pittsburgh to be like, yeah, sure, you know, take this guy, and I think just Dallas is doing something just to make headlines and just try to put their brand.
I do think there's a chance. I think Dallas won the trade. I mean, as far as I could see this year, this really playing out well for Dallas. Giving somebody opposite of CeeDee Lamb like that. You're just wondering if he's going to complain about not getting enough balls because CeeDee Lamb's there.
Here's the thing. He's not the same all-around range as CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb makes Dak Prescott look like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, at times, yeah.
Can this guy, Pickens, can he make CeeDee Lamb, can he make Dak Prescott look like any good quarterback?
Right.
You know, because there were some throws out there that you like that he wasn't able to get to, or he didn't.
I think they'll look good early. I really do. I think, but they don't have any depth because they're overpaying Dak by a fortune, and everybody's going to get injuries, and that lack of depth is going to catch up with them. But Jerry got his headline.
Right.
You know,
he's pushing his brand. That's it.
And they'll be a good fantasy team as long as Prescott can stay healthy with that group there.
Are you putting him on your fantasy team if you have one?
Possibly.
What number wide receiver?
But you know what? My thing is, though, he doesn't hit his second receivers consistently. He'll hit CeeDee Lamb. I think CeeDee Lamb may be his best chemistry player since Dak has been in the league.
Can we
more than Dez Bryant, more than anybody else you could think of, even those tight ends.
Can we be honest and say that CeeDee Lamb has his range and helps Dak Prescott as a quarterback?
Well, you're breaking up there, Chief.
It
looks like Carlos is breaking up on us. You there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Well, your picture is frozen. Hey. Yeah, there you go.
Can you,
it's like, bloop, bloop.
Yeah. I saw it coming. You stopped talking for a minute. You
like in a scientific movie, you know.
You know, like the '80s video or the.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
The Diet Coke commercial. Remember the Diet?
Yeah, that is a Diet Coke commercial. Yeah.
No, but can you imagine Dak Prescott? He's gonna get his with CeeDee Lamb. What is his opportunities for this bigger guy to actually help him? Because if he doesn't run his routes the right way, and he hasn't run routes correctly in the past team,
right?
If
but
he's
they
not
ain't had a great quarterback either.
If he's gonna have a bad attitude about not getting the ball, if he's not, if he can't stretch the field, where's all the opportunity that you know? I'm not sure, man. I don't know if this helps him more than anything.
The change of scenery may help him. It didn't help Claypool, and it didn't help Deontay Johnson. But some players it does. It helped Stephon Diggs, but Diggs was a better player at Minnesota than when he went to Buffalo. He was still a good player, so it's going to be interesting. It may work out for Dallas. I wouldn't have gave that many picks for him, but
look, at least this is
probably going to be a bad year at the end for Dallas. I mean, the last 6 weeks they're going to fall apart probably.
thing is that Jerry Jones is going to be like, yeah, well, I tried by getting this player and it didn't work out. So, he's going to be counting this as a move. And this is not really a move, man. This is just like, this isn't chess, man. This is not even checkers. This is like,
right.
I
mean, it could work out. It could work out, and they play well. Nobody's expecting anything from Dallas this year. They got Brian Schottenheimer, the coach.
And how good of a coach was he for the New York Giants? How good of a coach was he for the Carolina? How good of a
he's a bad coach. That's what I'm saying. Nobody's expecting anything. Probably 6 wins,
And
a lot of people are picking them to finish 4th.
Who's going to be the running back for the Cowboys? I mean, he's getting another wide receiver, and he needs literally a running back. Look, all I'm saying is that
that's true. Yeah.
Do you believe that other than the Washington Commanders and Philadelphia Eagles, do you believe that Dallas or the Giants are going to give them a run for their money to try to get into there between those two teams?
I don't know. No, it always depends on the given Sunday.
It does. And not like, again, and I say it all the time. The game isn't played on paper, but my man, like
injuries, concerns. What if Daniels hits a sophomore slump? The Giants are going to be a lot better with Russell Wilson, I think.
The problem is that both the Commanders and the Eagles have a better management team and have done better with their players.
Yeah,
than the Giants and
the Commanders are they upgraded at left tackle, so and the Eagles are going to be up and down because I think they're going to rest on their laurels a lot like they did last year. The Eagles are a little bit like the Celtics. They get complacent. They're super talented. They're super deep, but their heads are way off over here sometimes. And they almost got beat by the Carolina Panthers. You remember that?
Yeah. Well, we talked, and I told you, I was like, what is their plan? What is going to be their what are they going to do? Are they going to run the ball? They're going to throw the ball? Because they got 2 great wide receivers, and they're just going to run the ball. They have to figure it out. And
you never know what Eagles team's going to show up emotionally. Not real sure. The talent's overwhelmingly there.
Right, right.
Anything else you need to plug, man, before we get off here?
No, I'm just trying to work on this baseball project. New York teams are doing really well right now. It's an exciting time in New York for baseball.
Nice.
It's a terrible time to play baseball because, April showers bring May flowers, and it's been April showers and May showers. So
that's same here in Nashville.
You want to get out to the ballpark, to the Bronx, or to Citi Field, and it's just nothing but clouds and rains, and they haven't been delayed yet in New York, but I just hope it doesn't happen, man. There's a couple of days coming out. I do want to wish all the mothers happy Mother's Day this weekend.
That's right. Yeah, tell your wife I said happy Mother's Day, man. Here from
Mark your calendars, guys. Make sure they get breakfast, flowers, and all the goodies. Make sure you show them appreciation, not just on Sunday, but every day. Everybody do your thing and enjoy this weekend and all the sports going on. It's I feel like sports should take a 2-week break just so that people can get their mother's stuff out of the way.
Okay.
But it doesn't.
It'd be nice to push it farther in June.
Yeah,
there's such a long layoff after the finals, man.
Yeah, man. But
between the finals and training camp, it's like you see the tumbleweed going down the desert highway. It's just nothing.
Yeah. I've been trying to look. I've caught a little bit of this football. The arena leagues coming in the summer, so I'm
okay.
There's some things going on. A lot of club soccer.
Well, Big Three's getting better every year.
Yeah. So there's a few things.
There's
going
some baseball games that's going to be good, but you wish there has more of a sense of urgency. I wish the regular season ended in July, but didn't make those July games more interesting. Those will be pennant races.
Right, right, for sure.
It is what it is. The Mad New Yorker, everybody. All right, buddy. Thanks. I'll see you next week. And, folks, I'll be back here probably next Thursday or Wednesday. So have a good night, everybody. Thanks for watching The Real Sports Scoop.